End up saying,
Will I be writing huge checks to the government when I retire?
don't get blindsided by taxes. Make sure your retirement plan has a tax plan. With one call to JML Financial Group, 856-925-6674. That's 856-925-6674. Or at jmlfinancialgroup.com. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. JML Financial Group does not offer legal or tax advice. Please consult the appropriate professional regarding your individual circumstance.
NHL star Matt Martin for American Humane.
Hi, I'm Matt Martin, and in all my years of playing professional hockey, I've gotten my share of bruises and injuries. But for many who really put their lives on the line every day, it's not always the injuries you can see that hurt the most. I'm talking about our veterans. Every single day, 184 veterans are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, and tragically, 20 take their own lives. When medications and therapy don't help, professionally trained service dogs can. American Humane, serving the U.S. military for over 100 years, has put together a free guide to help veterans obtain these life-saving service animals. If you are a veteran or know a veteran struggling with PTS, please go to AmericanHumane.org for this free, downloadable resource. Let's give our veterans the help they need to win their battle.
For more information, visit AmericanHumane.org.
Heart disease and stroke can be catastrophic. They're leading causes of death, disability, and healthcare spending in the U.S., yet they're largely preventable. Alarmingly, heart disease and stroke are taking a toll on middle-aged adults 35 to 64, with over 800,000 deaths and hospitalizations in 2016. Million Hearts is a national initiative focused on preventing 1 million heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular events by 2022. Coordinated actions by Million Hearts partners in communities, healthcare, and public health will keep people healthy, optimize care, and improve outcomes in populations at risk. Everyone has a part to play. Focus on the ABCs of heart health. A. Aspirin use when appropriate. B. Blood pressure control. C. Cholesterol management. And S. Smoking cessation. To learn more, visit cdc.gov/vital signs.
I am a mother.
I am an entrepreneur.
I am a singer.
I am an artist.
I'm a journalist.
A businesswoman.
An educator.
A sister.
A grandmother.
An advocate.
A leader.
I am a friend.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am one of more than a million people living with HIV in the U.S.
We are not alone. Let's stop HIV together.
Get the facts. Get tested. Get involved. Go to www.actagainstaids.org for more information.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Barry, Sable, and Friends on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Well, good morning. You have tuned in to the Barry Sable Show with Friends. Glad you could find some time to join us on this Sunday morning. Sitting with me, Republican actionist, is Steve Paccaraduni, known to me as the Pac-Man. Yes, we are streaming live on YouTube, and I will respond to the chat of dialogue on the chat room. So, Roger Stone is a special guy, a seasoned political operative, speaker, pundit, and has his own podcast, and an author of not one, but 6 books. He has been associated with the political world since the turn of the century, not the 20th people, but the 19th.
Wow. Holy Uncle Barry.
He has been around a very long time. Roger has worked on campaigns of Republican politicians, the likes of Richard M. Nixon, Ronald Reagan. Where is my There he goes. Jack Kemp, Bob Dole, George Bush, and of course, Donald J. Trump. He is on the who's list of politics. Lastly, as a political strategist, he brings an unapologetic and outspoken style to the always offering a mix of sharp political analysis and unfiltered, and I mean unfiltered, commentary on today's pressing issues. Roger Stone, thrilled to have you on the Barry Sable Show with friends. You are talking to the fan base, home of the Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. Good morning, sir.
Barry, it's great to be with you. You know, I was thinking last weekend when the Eagles won, somewhere, Frank Rizzo was looking down from heaven, and he was smiling.
Yes, he was, Roger. So, Roger Stone, furthermore, you are known as a renowned infighter, a well-known verse practitioner of hard-edged politics, a political fixer, an agent provocateur. You describe your own self politically, modus operandi as attack, never defend, admit nothing, deny everything, and launch a counterattack. Am I correct? And what exactly do you mean by that, sir?
Well, those, of course, are the nicer things that have been said about me. Look, politics ain't beanbag. Going all the way back to the time of Lincoln, Lincoln's opponents, distributed handbills claiming that he was mixed race birth, which, of course, was false. Others said that he had fathered an African-American child, also false. Politics has always been a contact sport in this country. And I've always believed in doing whatever is necessary to elect my candidate or my cause, short of breaking the law. Very key term there, short of breaking the law.
Yes.
This is not it's not an easy business. The business has been automated in a way to take people out of it. In other words, you buy radio commercials, you buy television commercials, you buy cable commercials, you blast text messages, you blast emails to voters. In the old days, there used to be a great premium on volunteers to go door to door. But in this atmosphere, who opens the door to a stranger they've never seen before?
Yeah, of course.
So politics, in many ways, has become automated. One of the incredible things we saw, particularly in Pennsylvania, in this most recent election, is a return to the shoe leather aspect of politics, a return to the door-to-door aspect of politics, where supporters of Donald Trump knocked on over 500,000 doors of people who we knew were Republicans, who had mailed in for, mail-in ballots, who had qualified for mail-in ballots, but hadn't sent their ballot back in. Mm-hmm. I've never seen this kind of a very effective grassroots organization as was put together in the Keystone State in the last election. Yes. And I give Cliff Maloney, Scott Pressler, Charlie Kirk, these guys did an amazing job.
Yes.
Something that hasn't been done since the 60s, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Mr. Stone, Uncle Barry calls me the Pac-Man, and I have a question right out of the gate for you that kind of ties into what you're talking about, with the door-to-door operations here. Up until Donald Trump took office, how did our country get this way? Can you, as an insider, pull back the curtain and explain to our listeners, how did it get this bad?
Well, first of all, I don't think Donald Trump would have been elected in 2016 if we did not, at that time, have a free and unfettered Internet. The Internet provided the platform that allowed for Trump's election. The shift in how people communicate, the shift on how people get their news, moving from broadcast television, which is essentially dead, to cable, which quite candidly is dying, to the Internet, allowed for Trump to have a platform to counterpunch. So they couldn't do to him what, say, they tried to do to, Barry Goldwater. Remember? He's a warmonger. he's a neo-Nazi, he's crazy. Well, none of those things were true, of course, but none of the networks were going to publicize the arguments to those things, the counter arguments to those things. So the media in 2016 mistakenly built Trump up in the nomination phase, figuring, well, here's this, lumbering New York real estate, kind of like a cartoon character. Yeah. He could never beat Hillary Clinton. So they built him up in the nomination process, and then they tried to tear him down in the general election process. But it didn't work because Trump was able to very effectively use the internet to counterpunch and to destroy that imagery. Yep. So what you saw then immediately after 2016 was the attempt by the big social media platforms and others on the internet to put the toothpaste back in the tube. They had to censor the internet. They had to get control of it, just as they controlled network television, just as they controlled all but one of the cable networks at that time, just as they controlled virtually every print newspaper in the country, although those are also dying. And of course, that they were very successful at that. I told President Trump in 2017 that they would ultimately censor and cancel him on the internet. He didn't believe me. Yep. He didn't believe me until they shut him down on Facebook. They shut him down on Twitter, now known as X. Yep. They shut him down across the board. This was their effort to destroy his ability to counterattack. And of course, with Elon Musk purchasing the largest social media and communications platform in the country, they were unsuccessful in limiting his ability to fight in 2024.
Mm-hmm. Roger, let me ask you a question. For me, what's going on today is the next level of fraud and corruption. Big Pharma, Big Tech, Silicon Valley, major treason. Your response to that?
Well, up until this most recent election, most definitely true. I mean, I really think America is on the cusp of a golden age. Call it the golden age of Trump. It will be an unprecedented age of peace, prosperity, security, justice, and law and order. Trump, in his first term, and you can't blame him, he came from the world of business.
Yes.
He'd never been involved in politics, so he thought, maybe naively, that there's two parties. The Republicans are with me; they'll back me. The Democrats are against me. That's the opposition. And of course, it was never really that way. Half the Republicans thought that Trump had come along and disrupted their plan, which was supposed to be Jeb Bush versus Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
Nothing would change. You have continued endless foreign war, the continued erosion of our civil liberties, more and more and more debt, less and less freedom. Big pharma, big food could do really whatever they want, unchecked, and everybody got rich. See, unfortunately, Republican-Democrat is not really the divide in the country anymore. It's almost like a kabuki dance, like a Hegelian device that's used to distract us. But the real division in Washington, the real division in the country, is between globalists and nationalists.
That's right.
It's between those who think, who believe in war, who believe in censorship, who believe, for example, that Wall Street and Big Pharma should be allowed to do whatever they want. And then on the other side, those who believe in peace, those who believe in free speech, those who believe we have to start asking hard questions about why the health of Americans is going downhill so quickly. We have an epidemic of chronic childhood disease. We have an epidemic of obesity. We have an epidemic of autism. Yep. There is a reason for those things. It's not crazy or irresponsible to begin asking serious questions about why this is happening.
Yep.
So the divide in America, to me, is pretty clear. The other thing that's clear is that the old Democrat Party, the party of John F. Kennedy, the party of Harry Truman, who was essentially the founder of Israel.
Yes.
The party that had moderate Democrats who were anti-communists, who believed in a strong national defense, who believed in free enterprise and capitalism. That Democrat Party no longer exists. The Democrat Party has been taken captive by a radical socialist, if not communist, extreme, and the realignment that you saw in this recent reelection, in which Democrats like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And Tulsi Gabbard and Rod Blagojevich and others rallying to the Trump candidacy is the beginning of a new realignment in the country, one like we saw in 1932 under Franklin Roosevelt, in which African Americans moved from being Republicans to Democrats and stayed there until the most recent election by and large. The realignment in 1968 when white Southern Democrats began to move to the Republican Party under Richard Nixon. That realignment ultimately manifests itself in the election of Ronald Reagan in 1980, plus his reelection. We have that kind of watershed realignment going on in the country. Trump talks about it better than I do. He says, look, this is the difference between those who believe in common sense and those who don't.
I'm not so sure he talks better than you, Roger. But before we go to a break in a few minutes, let me put you on the spot. Last week I discussed a lot of politicians make anywhere from, say, $140,000 to $400,000 a year. And last week I had the numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but you know who they are. All of a sudden, a lot of these politicians, and as I say, you mentioned the word rich. A lot of these politicians are now worth, in a short period of time, 50, 60, 70 million. Where are the 80,000 IRS agents that Biden put in force to go intimidate us? Why haven't they audited any of those people, Mr. Stone?
Well, of course, they would have you believe that this great wealth was generated through stock trading.
Yeah.
That's troubling enough as it is. If a member of Congress is stock trading based on information they get as a member of Congress and the committees they serve on, which today, unfortunately, is not illegal, although it should be illegal, and it must be illegal. But I think you're going to find very shortly it will be disclosed that a number of major politicians, and I'm not going to name any names,
of course,
Chuck Schumer, I'm not going to point any fingers, Nancy Pelosi,
of course,
and others have foreign bank accounts, Lindsey Graham, have foreign bank accounts with vast sums of money in it. So, yeah, I think there's a skim going on. I think it's a big skim out of the money that's gone to Ukraine, and I think this will be proven by this new administration to the American people very soon.
Yep. Listen, Roger, we're up against a break. When we come back, I really want to discuss with you about your books. I find you to be a fascinating guy, and the titles of your books and the content really is interesting. You have been listening to The Barry Sable Show with Friends, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, with the only Roger Stone. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Happy birthday to us. 2 surprises for you. 2 surprises from NordVPN. 2 surprises for you.
Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN. We have a special birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. NordVPN is rated as excellent on PC Mag. Visit NordVPN.com and discover one of the most advanced VPNs in the world. What are the benefits? Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Receive alerts if your email address leaks to the dark web. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro tool. Encrypt your online traffic and browse with more peace of mind. Get the special birthday deal at NordVPN.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. It's time to celebrate American Heart Month with Rescue Natural Supplements. For nearly 40 years, Rescue Omega-3 has been providing people with the essentials to fortify heart health, reduce inflammation, and support healthy cholesterol levels. That's why it's the best time to dive into Rescue's February special. Right now, Rescue's most popular products, their premium omega-3 fish oils, are buy one, get one free exclusively for radio listeners. Just use the listener code OMEGA50 when placing your order. Call today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant or use that code OMEGA50 online when you visit res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Don't forget the code OMEGA50 when buying a one bottle of Rescue Omega-3s. Get a second bottle free. OMEGA50. Fortify your heart. Support a healthier well-being with a Rescue Omega-3.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where TurboTax Expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust, no matter what you're up to. Give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Yes, indeedy, you are listening to the Barry Sable Show with Friends, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. My special guest from Florida, Roger Stone. Roger, let me put it this way. I took the blows and did it my way. We've heard that before. Your books, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Bush Crime Family, The Clintons' War on Women, Nixon's Secrets, The Rise and Fall. You must walk around with an Uzi and a bulletproof vest, my friend.
Well, before my late mother passed away, she had read all my books, and she said, they're going to arrest you and put you in jail. And I said, Mom, don't be ridiculous. This is America. We got the First Amendment. All of my books are meticulously footnoted and documented.
Yeah.
You're worried about nothing. Of course, I turned out to be entirely wrong about that. And they tried to jack me up in the Russian collusion hoax, in which I had to fight to get Robert Mueller's final report unredacted and released. And when that happened, of course, even he couldn't sugarcoat the fact that he'd found no evidence of Russian collusion or WikiLeaks collaboration or any other crime. So, look, I'm a Republican, but I criticize both parties and leaders in both parties. I kind of go where the facts lead.
Yes.
My book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. Piece by piece, every bit of what I laid out in that book is being proven. Now, I'm not saying Lyndon Johnson acted alone to kill John Kennedy. What I'm saying is he was at the helm of a plot that included the Central Intelligence Agency, organized crime, the Secret Service, who clearly stood down that day in violation of their own regulations, Big Texas Oil, who financed the operation, and afterwards the cover-up of the FBI. Just 2 weeks ago, a new audio tape released by the great-great-grandson of Billy Sol Estes, who was one of Johnson's cronies, very famous scandal, went to jail, and Cliff Carter, then the executive director of the Democrat National Committee, and Johnson's kind of right-hand political operative. This audio tape surfaces in which they openly discuss the fact that Lyndon Johnson hired a man named Malcolm Mac Wallace to shoot John Kennedy from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository building. Mac Wallace's fingerprints are found on the window encasement and on the cardboard boxes that form the crow's nest from which the shooter shot. 6 different people tell the Dallas Police Department or the FBI that they saw a man in the window of the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository building who meets the physical description of Wallace: middle-aged, heavy set, balding, wearing spectacles, with light-colored trousers and a light brown jacket. 6 different people see this. So we now, I think, that kind of nails, and there's other evidence, but that nails Johnson's involvement. These upcoming disclosures ordered by President Trump, if the bureaucrats don't hide parts of it. I just posted a piece at stonezone.com, which is my website, stonezone.com. It's free. You can go read the piece I just wrote about how they're going to try to hide various pieces of the information. But I think this is going to nail the CIA's involvement. As far as organized crime, you can read Antoinette Giancana's terrific book, a little hard to find now, but you can also listen to the fruits of the wiretaps that they put in Sam Giancana, the gangster's prison cell, in which he talks about the plans for the assassination before and after the assassination. So piece by piece, everything I have laid out is now being proven. I took that book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, to 7 different publishers. And they all turned me down. They all said, nobody's interested in this.
Did you self-publish?
This book, no, this book will never sell. I finally found a publisher, became a New York Times bestseller overnight, still sells thousands of copies every year. If you go buy it, get the paperback, because I added 3 additional new chapters at the end of things I found out after I published the hardcover, because people come to you with new information when they read a book like this. So if you go to stonezone.com, you can get the paperback. I sign it. It's also less expensive than going to, say, Amazon or Barnes & Noble. If you want to give your money to a multinational corporation that hates your guts, you can buy it there.
You heard it from Roger Stones. Let me ask you a question. If with these disclosures that are about to come about, how do you think the American people are going to take to this, number one? And number two, all Secret Service and our DJ, all the agencies, I'm a little lost because I'm
The
intelligence agency. There you go. I'm at a loss. I'm listening to you, and I'm saying to myself, my God, this is incredible. How do you think America is going to take to this with these disclosures now going to be available?
Well, unfortunately, it's going to further erode Americans' confidence in our own government. But it's been more than 50 years. It's time for the American people to know the truth. Look, for example, at the murder of Senator Robert Kennedy on the eve of the California primary, which he won in 1968. Sirhan, the man who is charged and convicted of killing Robert Kennedy, is always in front of Senator Kennedy.
Yep.
He gets off 8 shots. All of them are accounted for. None of them hit Kennedy. The coroner for L.A. County, Thomas Noguchi, says in his autopsy that Kennedy was shot from behind in the left rear head by 2 point blank range, meaning having the gun right up against his head. So Sirhan cannot be the murderer. It's not possible.
Yeah.
But the Los Angeles Police Department investigation is badly, or I think purposely, botched. Bobby Kennedy, who's become a very good friend of mine, someone I admire very much for his courage, has talked about this. Gave a great interview on it with Mike Tyson, which survived on YouTube for exactly 7 seconds before it was taken down.
Wow. Let me ask you a question. You've witnessed, like I have, I'm a year older than you, a complete metamorphosis, in my terms, of the United States of America. There used to be a time where you could knock on your neighbor's door, ask for a cup of sugar, and you got it. Now you have to go buy it yourself because you don't even know who your neighbor is. What are your thoughts on what's happening to America? I always say on this show that the fabric of America is changing. Now, I've traveled extensively to most of the Latin countries down south, and I know culturally they're different. And I see the culture of America changing. Your thoughts on that, and how concerned are you about that?
I'm very concerned about it, and I think it is a product of our education system.
Yep.
I mean, when I went to school, they taught history. You knew who George Washington was. You knew who Abraham Lincoln was. You knew these were great men who did great things. You knew and were taught about the tremendous sacrifice that the founding fathers put forward to save the country. I mean, they risked their lives and their livelihoods and everything they owned to form a country where freedom would be the watchword. I speak on campuses today, and I spoke at one Friday night over in Naples, Florida. They don't teach kids our history anymore.
I know.
You say George Washington or Abraham Lincoln, their eyes glaze over.
Yeah,
They don't know who that is.
Of course.
And they don't know. Well, here's what they're taught. They're taught that all problems in this country were solved by white people,
of course. Which
is absurd. It seemed to me it wasn't that long ago that we had passed landmark civil rights legislation that black and white people got along. They got along incredibly well. I really thought, that race was behind us as a dividing factor. And of course, because the promulgation of hate, the promulgation of division, mostly through the internet, we're back in a period of racial tension in the country that I really thought we had solved. So I think it has to do largely with the education system and the shift away from teaching children the basics that they need to know in life: reading, writing, arithmetic, and most importantly, our history, where we came from. I think that is what has changed the country dramatically. And that, plus, and I can speak to this firsthand, the weaponization of our criminal justice system.
Yes.
When 29 FBI agents stormed my home at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was arrested at 6:06. Now, I'm 60 at that point, 68 years old. I have no previous criminal record. I'm accused of a white-collar process crime, which I was not even guilty of, i.e. lying to Congress in my voluntary testimony. So I didn't even have to go.
Yep. Why
would I show up and not tell the truth? And any mistake I did make in my testimony is irrelevant, immaterial, meaning there is no underlying crime to hide, no Russian collusion, no WikiLeaks collaboration. The judge said to me, "You lied to cover up for Donald Trump." Really? To cover up what, lady? Exactly what was it I covered up? It was an absurdity. But we have seen, and this is very tragic, we have seen the whole idea that every American was entitled to a fair trial.
Yeah, good luck.
That's out the window today.
Listen, Roger, go ahead. Let me let you
ahead.
finish. We're up against the break, but go ahead. You're fascinating to listen to, my friend. I hope Philadelphia is enjoying Roger Stone. Let me let you finish that thought, and we'll take a quick break.
Sure, it's really simple. What you find out, whether you're me or whether you're Alex Jones or whether you're Donald Trump, they don't allow you to put on a defense. They don't allow you to call witnesses and put forward evidence to prove your innocence. They don't allow that. It is a Soviet-style show trial that you face in America today.
There you go. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. This time is flying by. My God, I could talk to this guy forever. 1210 WPHT. Please don't go anywhere. We're going to see you right after the break.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-0874. 800-390-0874. 800-390-0874.
Keeping free speech alive. Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT. WPHT.
Yes, indeedy, we are back. You are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT with my special guest, Roger Stone. We still have him. Go ahead, Steve.
So, Uncle Barry, I've been chomping at the bit for this question.
Go ahead.
And we touched a little bit on it. Mr. Stone, who in your mind, besides the education art school, who in your mind is instrumental for screwing this country up so bad? Who could do this? Only the 535 that are in Congress, or is this deeper than we can ever imagine?
I'd have to say Barack Obama is more responsible for the change in America over the 8 years that he was president than anyone else. So, for example, in our military, I keep hearing conservatives say in the darkest days of America, well, maybe our military will save us. Let's be clear. If you were in the military at the highest levels or in the middle levels and you were an officer, And if you were not a globalist, if you were just a non-political, straight-ahead soldier doing your job, or even worse, if you held more conservative views, they retired you. They moved you out. So this is how we ended up with General Mark Milley, a guy who calls the Chinese and says, hey, don't worry. If I'm ever ordered by the president to launch an attack on you, I'll call you in advance and let you know. That, by the way, I think is treason, by the way.
Of course.
So I think he is more responsible for not only refiring the racial division in America, but I think undermining all of our institutions like the Department of Justice, for example. If I had to name the greatest villain of the century, it's probably him. Now, sure, he was using George Soros's money, and there are other key players here involved, but in essence, under Joe Biden, that allowed Barack Obama to have 3 terms in the presidency, and he did extraordinary damage to the country in that period. And his supporters keep telling us, and it was a scandal-free presidency. Really? Have they forgotten the whole Fast and Furious scandal, in which they were transporting weapons to terrorists? Or have they forgotten how Hillary Clinton sold 80% of America's uranium production to the Russians?
Yep.
No, but it was scandal-free, all right.
Yep. You know what bothers me, Roger? 74 million, if the vote is accurate and the count is accurate, 74 million people voted for the left. And I have to tell you, since I've been on the air, which is, I don't know, almost 2 years now, I get a chance to talk to all kinds of people. And when you talk to a Democrat today, most of the public, obviously the politicians know what's going on, but the public is not acutely aware. And there was a line that I read that you mentioned about an uneducated voter, and that's to me what we seem to have. You must be astounded how all of these people really voted for Kamala Harris. You got to be kidding. You must have, your eyeballs must have been rolling in your head.
Well, I think it's the product of 2 things. First of all, not all citizens are as acutely interested in politics as we are.
But they vote, Roger. They vote,
yes,
and their vote counts.
Yes, but they also watch CNN.
Yes.
They also watch MSNBC. Now, I don't get my news from CNN for the same reason I don't eat out of the toilet. But the average,
make me laugh.
but the average person out there who has a more casual view of these things, they will watch or listen to media outlets where we both know they're not being told the truth, or they're not being told the whole truth, and they believe what they're told. The level of hate that was generated against President Trump. Half of those people who voted for Kamala Harris, is a guess on my part, they didn't vote for her because they thought she was terrific, because she could barely string together a cogent sentence.
Yes.
They voted against Donald Trump because he's Hitler. And if you vote for him, he's a Nazi. That's not a very uplifting or inspiring message for an election campaign, is it? No. I mean, they didn't offer anything in this last election in terms of their plan to deal with the crime epidemic caused by an open border, to deal with the drug epidemic that we face with fentanyl, to deal with the question of the fact that there is no affordable housing in America in any section of the country. They had no plans. And then because they think people are stupid, they adopt our plans. All of a sudden, Kamala Harris pledges that if elected, she's going to seal the border.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, she had 4 years to seal the border. She was the border czar, even though she denies it. They did nothing to seal the border. Suddenly she decided, here's a great idea. You're going to love this. Let's do away with the tax on tips.
Oh, yeah.
She came out for that, 2 weeks after Donald Trump came up with it. So they really have benefited from what is still their domination of the old media. And we have to be realistic, even though their numbers are dropping and the numbers of people who follow their news on network television or on the old cable networks is falling, still a significant number of people.
Roger, how can the government restore faith in Americans? Because the government is so incompetent. I mean, now you see that Social Security is paying people who don't even have Social Security. Food stamps. I mean, it's really nobody is accountable. People get food stamps, they take them, and they sell them. So my question is, could Roger Stone write a book? I'd like to see how the government should operate properly. Can I get that one out of you?
Well, I'm writing a book on the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan, and I hope to have that finished by hopefully the end of July. I'm writing a book about my own 2.5-year struggle with the federal government, which they were essentially squeezing me to testify falsely against Donald Trump. They couldn't find any real crime on my behalf. They wanted me to become Michael Cohen. They had the wrong guy. I mean, I'm half Sicilian, half Hungarian. I like to say I'm Sicilian from the waist down. And they had the wrong guy. I was never going to do that. I already passed 3 lie detector tests at that point, polygraph tests, using the same people who conduct polygraphs for the FBI and the
They
Florida
don't
Department
care,
of Law Enforcement.
Roger. They don't care about you or anybody else. These guys break the rules. They're the guys that are really the bad guys, as you know.
That is true. But I think full exposure of what's happening in America, which is what I think what Elon Musk is doing is so great, as people are shocked to find that USAID, which had a good purpose when it began. John Kennedy signs it into law through an executive order. We're supposed to be helping poorer countries resist communism. Well, it's a lot easier to talk to somebody with a full belly than it is to talk to somebody who's starving, right?
Of course.
So it starts out with a good purpose, but it morphs into what becomes a slush fund.
That's right.
For the deep state, where we're paying the New York Times and Politico to push the false narratives, such as Russian collusion with the Trump campaign, which does not exist, or the false narrative of Ukraine and the impeachment, or the false narrative of January 6th. We're paying journalists and journalistic outlets, or what are supposed to be journalistic outlets, to pass these lies. Before it's over, Elon is going to continue to uncover not only extraordinary waste and fraud,
billions,
but just epic corruption.
Are they going to hold people responsible, Roger? Are they going to go and take people to the mat, or are they going to let them off the hook, just like I guess they say your boy Donald Trump let Hillary off of the hook? Do you think this administration is going to say, you know, you did wrong, we're going to prove you did wrong, and you're going to be accountable?
Well, the biggest problem you have, of course, is that any case brought to trial in the District of Columbia will never get a fair outlet. You cannot get an unbiased judge there. They're all left-wing Democrat activists. Even the Republican judges are establishment Republican judges. The toughest and most outrageous sentences being given to January 6th victims, people who committed no violent crime, who assaulted no officer, who destroyed no public property, people who got charged for standing in the right place, people who didn't even go into the Capitol. Some of the most longest and most vicious sentences meted out by Republican-appointed judges. So, and I've seen a D.C. jury up close. So if you bring people who have committed these egregious crimes, crimes as significant as treason, to trial in D.C., you are not going to get justice. What I would do if I were the Speaker of the House right now is I would have the House Oversight Committee scheduled field hearings across the country in Middle America, and I would subpoena those who got preemptive pardons. A, they cannot refuse to testify. We saw what happened to Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro when they did that. And B, they can't plead the fifth because they accepted a pardon. And then if they perjure themselves in, say, a hearing in Ohio, well, then they will be charged with a crime and go to trial in Ohio. And perhaps you could get a fair proceeding.
There you go. Roger Stone, we are up against our last break. You have been listening to the one, the only. He's a dapper guy. You have to see him dress. Roger Stone. We will see you on the other side of the break.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-0874, 800-390-0874, 800-390-0874.
In a world filled with financial information, Citizens can help you make sense of it. So whether you're signing up or hitting snooze on some financial newsletters, scrolling through your socials that all seem to be saying the same thing, or getting together with your neighbors at a cookout to game plan college funds, you're ready to make the most of it. Make sense of your money with Citizens. Learn more at citizensbank.com/made-ready.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
A fist fight over cutting at a porta potty line near the Eagles Super Bowl parade leaves 2 women with gunshot wounds. A male suspect now in custody. And an 87-year-old Bucks County veteran goes global over his party invitation.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-0874, 800-390-0874, 800-390-0874.
College sports hold a mythic place in American culture, but sometimes the drama off the court overshadows the action on it.
The higher-ups are concerned about one thing, and that is avoiding scandal.
I'm Margot Gray. On the new podcast, Campus Files, we cover everything, including some of the biggest scandals in college sports. Listen to and follow Campus Files, an Odyssey original podcast, available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Yes, indeed, you are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. My special guest, I could talk to this guy forever, Roger Stone. Roger, I want to take a quick call. Steve Diorio, Cruising 92.1, an advocate of the Barry Sable Show with friends. You're on live with Roger Stone, Steve.
Hey, Barry, God bless you for hooking the biggest fish in the sea. Because obviously, Roger, you are a hero, a national hero. God bless your parents for raising you the way they did. You are an inspiration to all of us. We were all heartbroken when the FBI and CNN raided your breakfast that morning. You are a treasure. I met you 3 times, once in Collingswood. I did a straw poll. I was the Republican chair. Jim Corder was running for governor. There was a bunch of candidates running, Jerry Cardinari, Carrie Edwards, Bill Gormley. And I had to run home and make sure all the Republicans came out because you were back in Corder at the time. Corder wound up garnering 60% of the vote. So I was a hero. The straw poll was broadcasted the next day in print media all over New Jersey. So I also met you at the book signing with Dom Giordano from 1210. That was in 2017. I got a picture with you. And I met you at Mike Crispy's event in Little Italy. And God bless you with your Italian heritage. You were great that night. My friend Beth Sawyer and I love you, and we expect big things out of you in the future. And thank you for everything that you do for America.
Go ahead, Roger.
That's very, very kind. I just want to assure everybody, I'm just warming up. I assure you.
Well, while Steve's on the phone, Roger, you made a point. Today we are out at 57:20. So actually out 58, but we do a little bit of a little monologue here at the end. I want to give you the time to tell us, uninterrupted, where do you see America going? Where would you like to see America going? Are we getting our money's worth out of this administration? I know it's only 3 weeks. So why don't you take the time? We've got 4 minutes, 5 minutes, uninterrupted. The city of Philadelphia loves Roger Stone. Go ahead, my friend.
I really sense a national renaissance in the country. People prior to this election, they were downhearted, they were depressed. Many of them were ready to give up. And now there's a new optimism in the country, a new hope. And Donald Trump is, 3 weeks in, he's done more in 3 weeks in this term than he did in the entire first year of his term in 2017.
Yes.
This time, instead of being surrounded by snakes and quislings and backstabbers, he is assembling an all-star team.
I
Kash
agree.
Patel,
Yep.
very close friend of mine, more qualified to be FBI director than any man in decades. To watch Adam Schiff, and I still say, if it's Schiff, flush it. Adam Schiff saying that Kash Patel is a conspiracy theorist. Adam Schiff, who told us that he'd seen more than circumstantial evidence of Russian collusion with Donald Trump's campaign and produced none whatsoever. For him to call Kash Patel unqualified or a conspiracy theorist is an outrage. I also believe, as I said earlier, that we're about to enter a golden age.
Yep.
Donald Trump knows how to rebuild this economy. He knows the cornerstone of that is to returning to energy independence, and move not only to lower gas and oil prices in this country, but we will very quickly become the greatest exporter of energy on the face of the planet.
Yep.
I feel very strong about preserving Italian-American culture. That's why I was happy to join the Italian-American Civil Rights League. You can find it at IARCL, Italian-American Civil Rights League, IACRL.org. It's a nonprofit. There's no overhead, but we fight to support Italian-American heritage, Italian-American culture, and the great contributions that Italian-Americans have made to America, because they'd like to erase this. The hard left would like to erase that. It's something I'm very hopeful for will add to the great golden era that we're about to enter into.
Yes.
Donald Trump is going to be a greater president now than if he had been rightfully given the office in 2020. Those 4 years in the wilderness, those 4 years fighting the tsunami of lawfare, those 4 years of figuring out who your friends really were and who your friends really were not, has better prepared him, as you can already see, for this term as president.
Yep.
So, and I use this example here where I live in Florida. If it were not for Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis would be managing a McDonald's someplace. Donald Trump took a guy at 8% in the polls, and by endorsing him through social, catapults this guy from 8 to 68. His campaign coffers were empty. Overnight, the guy is rolling in campaign money. And still Donald Trump has to come to Florida to drag him over the finish line the last 3 weeks of that campaign.
Yep.
Yet he repays that patronage, that support with treachery, and runs against and viciously attacks the man who made him. So during this 4 years, Trump has gotten a very good fix on who was really with him, who is really a patriot, who really supports the America First agenda, and who does not. And now surrounding him is an all-star team.
Yep.
Scott Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury, brilliant guy, serious plans to bring down the American debt, serious plans to bolster the economy. Bill Pulte, the head of the Federal Home Finance Administration, solid plan to make housing in America affordable again, whether you're renting, whether you're buying, to make affordable housing possible again. Marco Rubio, a guy who has fought communists in this hemisphere, is going to do an amazing job as Secretary of State. Tulsi Gabbard, the absolute standout in this cabinet. Here's a woman who fought for her country in Kuwait and Iraq. She's a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. This is one of his very best appointments. Say it right here on your show. Mark it down. She will be the first woman president of the United States. Mark it down. I said it right here.
Robert
Stone. Kennedy.
I
brilliant
hear you.
guy.
Unfortunately, our time is over. Two things. Number one, in baseball, do you know what a doubleheader is? I know you do. We need to see you back. We haven't touched the surface. You do your own podcast. You know an hour is not enough, Roger Stone. Uncle Barry is looking for you again. To Roger Stone, life is like a boxing match. Defeat is declared, not when you fall, but when you refuse to stand again. You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. My special guest, Roger Stone. Thanks for joining me on this Sunday morning. Philly, we appreciate you. You have been listening to us for the last 2 years, and I never forget it. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Have a great week, a healthy week, a safe week, and we will see you next weekend. Thanks again to Steve sitting in the studio with me and Roger Stone. Thanks for always being there for me. I appreciate you.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
I am a die-hard Eagles fan. I'm so glad to be here.
Hey, introduce your friends real quick, too.
Before you have a heart attack, introduce your family. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Wow. We've been here since 1 p.m.
1 p.m.?
Yesterday.
So what made you come down here at 1 p.m. yesterday?
Because we bleed green.
How about that? 1 p.m. yesterday.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
I'm just a kid. I'm 6. I'm 9. I'm 4.5. And I've got asthma. You know just how upset I can get when I have an asthma attack. And I know that you want to do all that you can do to help me. But you might not know about all the different